Today we are going to be looking at one of my favorite case patterns. This is a case small Stockman. The number on this particular knife is 6333. The 6 being that it has jigged handles. These are made out of a Delrin. It's a plastic-like material. They are not bone. The 3 because it has 3 blades. And the 33 being this particular handle pattern. Case has made a lot of knives over the years with the brown Delrin handles. Usually the blades aren't polished up to a mirror polish. They're left with an as-ground finish. And they're normally orientated to be a working knife. And this brown is a really tough and durable material. And it's classic looking because it's been used for so long. It looks nice. The handle itself, this is Case's small Stockman, and it's also the small penknife frame. To illustrate this, this is a 6233. You can see here that they share the same frame. The difference being that this knife has 3 blades, and this knife has 2 blades. The pen will have your main blade, and then it will have a secondary pen blade. You can see it's a 6233, 2 meaning 2 blades, and then a 33 again being the handle pattern. This one is from 1991. But the one we're looking at today is the Stockman version. You got your 3 blades. The first blade and the main blade is going to be a clip point. I got this knife used at a pawn shop and cleaned it up. There you can see the year. It's 2001. The handle, with both blades closed, with all the blades closed, is going to be around 2 inches and 5/8 or so. So it don't take up much room in your pocket. And then your main blade is going to be around 1 inch and 3/4, the cutting edge. Not measuring the tang. The cutting edge will be about 1 inch and 3/4. And that's going to be your main blade. Both of your secondary blades will be considerably smaller. I think these knives have a really handsome looking clip point. They've got a small swedge at the top right there. Has a nice defined nail nick, has a nice gradual point. It's a classic looking clip point, and it's a really attractive looking clip point. It's a really useful edge too. You'll be able to do almost all the tasks that you need with this particular blade. I know people who have carried this as their main knife and not had any problems. The secondary blade is going to be the classic Stockman sheepsfoot. Good, useful knife, especially for opening packages and so on because of the tip. It's on this particular blade that you're going to find on the tang that this is a 6333. Stainless steel. Then the last blade on this little knife is going to be the pen blade. It's always a good blade for sharpening pencils and stuff like that. And so those are the 3 blades you're going to get on the small Stockman. To put it into perspective size-wise, probably the most popular small knife from Case, the Peanut. Here it is compared to the Peanut. You can see that it is just a little bit shorter than the Peanut. But it's also not as tall as the Peanut. The handle isn't. It's about the same width, though, but it isn't going to weigh as much as the Peanut. The other super popular small knife from Case would be the tiny toothpick. And you can see it's longer than both the Peanut and the small Stockman. So the small Stockman is the smallest common knife from Case, I guess is the best way to say it. It's the smallest common knife. There are other knives that are smaller that Case has made, but they aren't popular and they're not common. They're hard to find and they're more collector's items than regular users. That's going to be the smallest regular user that you're going to find. The Tiny Trapper is small, but the Tiny Trapper is hard to find. Here's another small knife. This one's about the same length. This is a case 01 pattern, back from 1980. But it's a collector's knife. It's not one that you would carry and use every day. Not just because of its value, but also because of its practical nature. It's not near as practical as the small Stockman. If you pull out the main blades on these two knives, you'll see the handle is about the same length, but you can see how much more blade you get with the main blade on the small Stockman. So the small Stockman is really sensible in that way. The next Stockman size up, again, we're talking about the Stockmans that Case is making in production in 2024. They've made other Stockmans over the years. But it's another square bolster, and this is the medium Stockman, the 44 pattern. These two remind me of each other because the handle looks nearly identical. It's just that this one is larger. The shapes are largely the same. They will have the same 3 blades, just the 44 is a little larger is all. If you don't have one of these 33s in your pattern, whether it's the Stockman or the penknife, it's very worth getting and carrying it for a while and using it. You'll find that it will take care of almost any task you need. Because again, you've got 1 inch and 3/4 on the main blade. But the blades are also not skimpy. They're good thick stock. So they're strong enough to do whatever you need. If you compare the main blade to the peanut, because the peanut's a jackknife, you can see the peanut is a larger knife. And that's why peanuts are so popular, because they have a good-sized blade for a good-sized handle. But even when you look at the thicknesses of the blades, you'll notice that the peanut's blade is a lot thinner than the blade on the Stockman. So this Stockman is going to be a sturdy knife, and it's going to be a really useful knife. Most of these that I see out there are in this brown Delrin. It's kind of rare to see one in another handle, but this is a good handle. If you find it, pick it up. Anybody who's got traditional knives needs to have a brown Delrin in their collection. In the same way that if you're a traditional knife collector, you need to have a yellow Delrin case knife. You need to have a brown Delrin case knife. And then on top of those two, you need to have some sort of an amber bone knife. Those are the 3 materials that if you're going to be a collector, you need to make sure you have one of. Let alone mention maybe a stag knife or 2 if you find them. But those are the 3 in my mind that every case collector needs to have. Classic yellow, the classic brown, and then the classic amber bone. The 33 is a good knife, and it's worth getting and carrying for a while. Oftentimes you'll find that a little knife like that is really all that we need in our pocket if we are doing an office job or just common EDC, and they can be really personable and can be really enjoyable. Y'all have a good day.